Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Jane Live. My name is Matt Drake. This is episode 49 and the episode of the year. I'm joined tonight by two people who, one of which you know very well, one of which you may know less. Brady Cush and Jack Ryan. Where is
Hello.
he? There. Good evening, gents.
Good evening.
Howdy, Matt. Howdy, Jack. How you doing?
Very well. Excited. Glad to be here.
Little grinchy with that black and green cap of yours.
You know what? I never really like Christmas anyway, so I'll come and crush your baubles and steal your stockings. I don't care.
Thomas must be looking forward to this Christmas.
Yeah, he's getting a smaller version of this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a hat for Devin, Matt?
Again, smaller version of this. A smaller version. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a great show tonight. It's the last one of the year, so we're on a little bit of a wind down. Don't know about you. It's my last day at work tomorrow. I'll probably finish about lunchtime, and then that'll be it. Feet in the air, relaxing for a few days.
Was that a challenge for the number 1 tag, Matt, that I heard in the afternoon?
Yeah, we've got a week left.
Yes. So yes, I picked up the number 1 tag on yesterday's round, which now has put a massive target on my back because there's only like 7 days until the end of the year. So yes. Anyway, that'll be fun. Anyway, but closer to time tonight, we're going to go through the hot scores. There's been plenty of disc golf being played and some really, really good disc golf being played. We're going to then go through some discussion points. We've got a few things that we wanted to discuss. Each of us has brought a few different things along for a bit of a chat. And then Jack, you've been a guest host on the show before, but you've never done Desert Island Disc Golf. So we're going to get to know you a little bit more and do Desert Island Disc Golf. We're going to run through some of the events that are coming up in January. If you haven't registered for some of these, then there are still spaces in many of them. So please make sure you do that. And just cover off what we're going to be doing over the next sort of few weeks. So yeah, right. Off we go. So starting down south in Invercargill, Johnny Ferrari's 11 under par is the hottest score of the round, beating out both the Stouts who didn't make it on top this week. Over at Chingford, Mark Tebbett and Harry Fraser both shoot 5 under par. At Brockville, Tom McKay's 4 under par is enough for the win. And at Queenstown Gardens, Alan Megatron hits 7 under par. At Tucker Beach, Russell King is 1 under. And across to Wanaka, it's Ollie Webb who hits 4 under par, and Matt Pritchard who hits 9 under par at Lismore. Nice. Up to the Garden City and at Jelly Park, Callie Thompson hits 13 under par. And at Brookerav, Paul Wadsworth's 5 under, and at Jaden Watkinson's 8 under at Queen's Park Reserve are the best scores in the eastern edge of the city. Jack, take us through the North Island.
Good Lord. I mean, I just for a moment there, that's some incredible golf just all over in the South Island. That's amazing. Moving to the capital, starting in Berhampore, we have Brady Cush and Young Haast finishing at -7 this week, which is just incredible. The weather out here has been actually quite good, so that's nice. Hikoikoi, over to Hikoikoi, sorry, we have Flavio Mayorga at -2. Fantastic stuff. Going up to Harcourt Park, Jackson Sullivan makes a comeback. He's back in the city, back in his hometown for a little bit. For a little bit, and he's out playing somehow. I guess he's not that injured, or he's still healing anyway. Coming in at a -5 at Harcourt Park. Popping up to Palmerston North at Linklater, we've got Joel Simpson at a -2. Well done. And then over to Taupo. At Spa Park on the red course, Sean Ashford comes in with a -3. Popping over to the east side at McLaren Falls in Tauranga, Mike Foley comes in at even. And then all the way up to Auckland at Henderson, Jared Newton comes in with a massive -12. Well done.
Very well. Very well done to Jared.
That's not on the 9-hole course, is it?
That's on the 18, full 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been on the league night, I suspect, earlier on this week. Speaking of leagues, the Wellington Midweek Spring League wrapped up this week with the final event of the year, week 8 of 8, and it was incredibly tight. Going into the week, Brady Cush was in second place, chasing down Chris Sinai. Brady did what he needed to do and won his beat Chris last night to take the hottest round at 4 under par, 958 rated. I didn't do what I needed to do, which was also beat Chris, and then that would have sent Brady and Chris tied. I shot a 1 under par, which was enough to actually tie me third place overall in the league, which I was which I was happy with. And then that's the end of that league. In third place was myself and Rich McDonald. In second place, Brady Cush, and in first place was Chris Sinai, who took out the win. So shout out to Chris for putting in solid performances week after week. And actually, out of Brady and Chris, I think they were the top two every single week, just tossing the lead between themselves, not really deciding on who wanted to win. So yes, it was so very good there. And then there was a little bit of a faux pas on my part after this. So this was quite funny. Brady, as you know, you're an amateur through and through. I know you're waiting for your time when you can pop back to the States and compete in amateur worlds and do that. And if for any reason you were to be classified as a professional, you were to take cash, then that would ruin that possibility, right? So it would be pretty bad if you took cash in a league, had it entered into the PDGA submission report, and then it automatically changed your status to professional for a number of hours, which was quite amusing for me when they fixed it, and I realised that I wasn't engaged, because I would have felt really bad. It's like my screw up means you can't play Am Worlds. Would be quite amusing. But so anyone who's administering a league, if you are giving away cash, which you're allowed to do, perfectly legit to give away cash, and it doesn't change people's decisions, you just don't declare it on your submission report. So yes, FYI. Lovely stuff. Okay, now we've got a few things that we wanted to go through today. Jack, let's start with you. You're the guest.
Hi.
Yes. What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? Well, I was perusing Reddit, as you do, across the disc golf subreddit, which of course one of the first things I see is reminding me how broke I am after buying 4 Club Breaker 3s. Not just for me, to be fair, but still. One
for you, 3 to flip. I see how it is.
Yeah, well, that would probably break even. Yeah. But yes, I came across a new-ish website that's been going for a few months now, called the Players Meeting. It's a weekly newsletter that likes to, basically just collates all of the interesting disc golf news that's happened throughout the week. Fantastic website, highly recommended, theplayersmeeting.com. Just a really good way to catch up on what's going on. So of course there's lots of movement, hot stuff happening in terms of pro contracts and where people are going where, which has caused some controversy in some areas, but also it's just very interesting. So being able to have that collated into a very easy to read newsletter blog is very nice.
Excellent. Was there anything that's been happening in the news that's caught your eye?
What did I see? There was a tweet from Drew Gibson, which has started a bit of controversy. So Drew Gibson on Twitter writes, "Do contracts in disc golf even mean anything at this point? Some of you'll just be signing your name, then switching up well before the expiration. It's actually sad to see from a business standpoint. #do better." And then Kevin Jones comes along and replies on Twitter saying, "You do better, Drew. #stay in your lane, #misinformation." So I mean, I'm all for a little bit of disc golf drama every now and then. I don't know about you.
Well, this is particularly potentially a point to talk about because of a potential move that could be happening. And maybe we'll find out in a few hours' time whether this is actually the thing. And the rumor is that Ricky Wysocki is going to Dynamic Discs. So, and the way that Westside have been putting out their social media, it would appear that he's going to Westside, which would be, I mean, I wouldn't expect that given that they've just signed Matteo and they've already got Nico Lacastro on there. It would surprise me.
Throw a harp?
Well, no, I totally get it, but like, I just think Westside having 3 very strong MPO players like that, I think is great. I mean, I'm a DD fan, right? So anything Dynamic Disc, Latitude, they're my team, if you like. If you have teams, is that a thing? I don't know. Do people have teams?
Not really.
Do you support a team, a manufacturing team you'd like to see? Let us know if you do. Like, do you have a brand that you kind of go, I really want their players who throw that brand to do particularly well? I mean, in the States, or is it just me? Is it just me who looks out for all the Latitude guys? And
well, I want Eagle and Simon to do well. So, like, I'm a Discmania fan, but at the same time, too, like, I'm a big Discraft fan, so I want, like, Paul Macbeth and Paige Pierce and, like, Missy Gannon to do well. So, but I would argue that's a little more individualistic than I could care less whether Adam Hammes wins or not. Like, he could just not play very much, and that'd be fine by me. But, everyone has their favorites, as it were.
Yeah, I don't know. I particularly like it, but there we go. That's just me.
Yeah.
So if Ricky does come to DD, then it's going to be happy birthday. I think that's great news. Great news, and absolutely, he's very au fait with their discs. I don't think it would take him too long to put his bag back together.
No.
What was he putting with, Matt? Do you remember when he was with Latitude?
Oh. No, I
Come
don't.
on, Mr. Team Latitude.
Yeah, all right. No, I don't know. I don't know. I would say it was slightly before my time, given that it was 2019. But
yeah, I was gonna say, have you even been playing that long, Matt?
Yeah, all right. So, but there's been some other pro moves that have happened that have already gone through. So, Andrew Marweed leaving Innova to join DGA. So that's interesting. Matt Bell going from DGA to Fort Space Athletics, picking up potentially their largest name that they've had.
Ever. Very new company.
Jack, you've thrown a few Fort Space discs previously.
No, they are most of them are produced by MVP, but I have not thrown any of the TSA plastic myself. But
yeah. I've got one. So I will have to give it a throw. I forget what it's called. It begins with an E. That's how much I know about them. But yeah, anyway, there'll be more around. It flies like a buzz. Apparently, there'll be more around. That you'll see more of them next year. Eric Oakley to Infinite is interesting. I don't know if you saw his video where he did a tour of the Infinite factory. Did you see that video on YouTube? And someone puts a Kia in his hand. And you know what he described it as? Did you see this? He described a Kia as a Lego brick, which personally I thought was quite amusing. And I don't know my thoughts on the Kia. I'm really, really sorry, everybody in New Zealand, that I despise the Kia. It's
just because you don't have the arm to throw it. That's all.
Maybe I'm just salty like that. I think it's the ugliest looking disc, shape-wise. Like, ignore the stamp.
Have you thrown a Gator?
No, but I've seen that it's very similar, and that's what the guy says. He says it's like a Gator, but the Kia for me, I don't know. I just don't like it. It just doesn't look. I don't like the look of it. I'm really sorry, and there's loads of RPM fans out there who are going to shout me down and say, "Hey, you're rubbish. It's my favorite disc, and I throw it all the time." And great, if you do, I'm really, really pleased for you, but I don't like the look of them. But anyway. I felt that was particularly amusing when I saw that on the video.
Yeah, this challenge, Matt, tomorrow when I challenge you for your #1 tag, I'm going to throw only a Magma Kia, and you can use your whole bag. And I'll still take the #1 tag.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, okay. I don't know whether tomorrow will be the day, but certainly in between Christmas and New Year, I'll be available give up that number 1 tag.
1 week.
Other news, moves. Cole Redallen moves from Discraft to Infinite. Youngster will be going to throwing an open bag next season. Gavin Rathburn moves from Discmania to Dynamic Discs. That's an interesting one as well. Again, Youngster was in for a lot last season. And the big one so far is Matty Oram from Prodigy to Westside, which I'm really pleased about. I'm a big Matteo fan, not least because I throw a little bit like him, not deliberately, but because I've got an air bounce. And it's I really like that move.
Another interesting thing, I think, is the fact that EV7 is coming through and pinching up a bunch of players as well to throw their discs, like the Penrose. Similar to, so they've signed on Matt Bell for a contract and also Cole Redallen for a 3-year putter deal. So I think this is quite interesting. Like, I mean, of course, they've been around for a little bit with Drew Gibson, but is this going to be a thing where players are now going to start contracting on specific molds and specific speed types of discs?
So your overstable mid-range is sponsored by this, your long range driver is sponsored by this company, Is that going to be a thing, Brady, do you think?
Well, one, are you guys familiar with like the setup of EV7?
Tell us about it.
So EV7 came on after, it's from one of the founders of Prodigy Discs. So, like the founder itself is already one of those kind of like pot stirs a little bit of, as far as I know. And like this was released years ago, it might have changed and that kind of stuff. But, like they'd branched off from Prodigy, and I think it was around the same time that like Seppo Payu like stepped up and took over for like Prodigy Europe. And so like they have a new kind of like owners group. And I know that a lot of the players are like in on that. But so he broke off and he said like, look, I'm going to start manufacturing discs, but I'm going to manufacture them like at a higher standard than other people are doing. And so that's why it took so long and why they've only started with putters. And so the idea of, it's a putter only line to start as far as I know, like, and I don't know if it's going to branch out farther than that. So I would argue that for him, it's just like a business deal that like they literally, because they're not doing any other molds, they have to pull in people like Drew and Eric and Infinite or Thought Space players, because if they're with a bigger manufacturer, like Ricky was, like, thank you, Ethan, for like Ricky throwing daggers, like they have daggers, like they don't need to, they have a mold that EV7 it like is kind of copying or whatever. So as far as I know, is kind of to stir the pot a little bit, and the idea that it's going to be only putters only. So business for EV7 is like, great, let's only focus on top of the line putters, but then, okay, how can we get them in professional hands and actually build the brand? Okay, we can do it in under like, like the umbrella of Infinite Discs.
Well, fantastic. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I think that's going to be it's going to be a slow burn, to get from a situation where everybody's entire bag is sponsored by one manufacturer to a point where you've got top players throwing a bag of where my roller disc is sponsored by.
Well, Nico is very popular for doing and throwing a mixed bag for a very long time. And like arguably, I think he was with like partially sponsored by like Gateway a long time ago, and Gateway mainly focuses on putters like Voodoos, Warlocks, Magics, Wizards, like those kind of things, which are super popular in the States. Like people in New England were throwing them all the time, but like we don't see them over here at all.
Well, shout out to Ben Buchanan putts with a wizard. I know for not the only one, but I in New Zealand that I know. But there's plenty of them about, I'm sure.
Dave Rose brought in a bunch for one of the flings like 4 or 5 years ago, which was really nice. And so like that was kind of cool, but it was like sweet. Here are all these like Warlocks and Wizards in hands, but like that was it. Like they really haven't come to New Zealand since then.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So some interesting moves. Westside's Instagram has got a countdown that runs out at about 3:00 New Zealand time tomorrow morning. So if you're awake or in the morning, if you see the news drop, I mean, it's a picture of. Go onto the Westside Instagram and you'll see what it is. There's certainly some announcement that's coming tomorrow morning. So look out for that. Could be quite exciting.
Well, I was going to say, Matt, and go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to quickly talk about the Ricky Wysocki signing on to Schaefer Sports Management. as his accountant, tax manager, and agent, which I think is kind of an interesting move. So you're not just relying on yourself, I guess, or your team manager from your disc manufacturer's manager to sort of get you through all that. He's going for a specific company that deals with sports people and athletes, which I think is quite big.
I think it's a sign of that disc golf is growing, and that it was a matter of time before something like that was going to happen. That it would have its own bespoke kind of agents to begin with, and then someone would go and sign with a sports agency, someone who specializes in sports contracts, and then that was going to happen. Absolutely.
Well, and you guys are familiar that like Matty O, Drew Gibson, Eric Oakley are all have the like DGPM. It's like Disc Golf Pro Management company working for them.
Many of them do. Yeah. Is that the Pro Tour? Like, is that a part of the Pro Tour?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. And I was going to say, I actually have a question. Speaking of like sponsorship and like sponsorship announcements, what did you guys think of the kind of kerfuffle a little bit by Prodigy announcing that Matty-O is leaving before like Westside kind of like announced it themselves? Did you know about that, Jack?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard half of this story, but I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, so what happened was so Matty-O leaves to go to Westside, and Prodigy send out a tweet or a social message that's like, thanks Matty-O for all of your years of really hard, really well played. We're gonna miss you where you're gone, but best of luck with your journey, carrying your journey at Westside Roll Tide. And Westside hadn't announced it yet. So like. They said that he was leaving, and that was the first anyone found out about it. But they also found out where he was going, and that's a little bit of a faux pas. Normally, you're gracious when someone leaves and allow the incoming sponsor to have the fanfare. That was denied on this occasion, which is perhaps, I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll see.
I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. From what I've seen. And I'm not a business person at all, but any press is good press. So depends on how you want to take it.
I think if it was deliberate, it's a bit of a dick move, but I don't think it was deliberate. If I'm honest, I just think it was carelessness on the part of Prodigy, most likely. I can't imagine Innova doing something like that simply because it would be, I think, seen as childish, especially seeing as Prodigy have just made that exact cock up. But did you notice how they were a bit late in congratulating Ricky on his Player of the Year award?
Yes.
By an awkward amount of time.
Yes.
So yes, maybe that's adding fuel to the fire. We shall see. A matter of hours, most likely. Right, what else have we got, gents?
I wanted to kind of talk about leagues, actually, seeing how we just kind of wrapped up our second league.
Yeah.
So, leagues have just kind of come onto the scene in New Zealand. Like Morgan's run 2 down south and his Struggle Street and like any given Monday. And, I ran Barrenport 200. So, Jack, let's start with you because like you didn't play in either of the leagues.
Nope.
So kind of my like curiosities behind it is like, well, like one, why didn't you play in the league? Like, is there anything that like Matt or I could have done to entice you to play? Do you think they're of value? Do you prefer tournaments? Like, what's your stance on leagues in general?
In terms of like a weekly commitment at the moment, it's really hard to organize that. Where Minky my partner is working shift work, so sometimes she's working night shift, sometimes she's working day shift, and then also having to look after a 1.5-year-old on the weekends and even during the week. It's hard to do it consistently, and I feel like without being able to show up every week, it kind of negates any sort of competitiveness of me being there. So at the moment, disc golf is just very casual. So in terms of just where my life is at the moment, it's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I would love to, of course, if I could, but I would have to be able to commit every week, I feel, to make it worth my while.
And Matt, how is it for you, like running in a league and playing with a league? Do you agree with what Jack just said about like being able to like set aside time? What was it like for you?
I can certainly empathize with Jack because my daughter's just a few months older than Jack's son, and so I'm in the same boat with that respect. However, my partner Lino works during the daytime, doesn't work shifts, does like a 9 till 5, and so we've got a deal during the week where she goes to ladies league on Tuesday and I look after Devon, and then I go to midweek league on Wednesday and she looks after Devon. So we've got kind of like we have a take in turns that we can do there, which makes it easy. And then on the Sunday, I'm lucky enough to be able to play early in the morning on a Sunday at like 7 a.m. with a bunch of other dads. And we play around, and we kick off at like 7:15 at Baronport, and we're done by 10 o'clock. I mean, that means I can get home on a Sunday, bit of a lazy day anyway, often. I can get home and have the rest of the day. So it doesn't so that, you know, I've been fortunate in that for me personally and my situation, the leagues kind of worked at a time that I can fit into the, you know, family schedule and work around everyone else's commitments, which so I can see where Jack's going from, because if it was if the leagues were done probably at any other time, you know, if someone said, oh, they're on a Saturday lunchtime, I'd be like, no, I can't do that, not every week, you know. So I totally get it. Yeah.
Well, then
David.
I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to share David Keene's post?
David, you know what, I couldn't agree more. There should be a absolutely. You get your MA40s and all that. Parents division. You have to be a dad. Absolutely.
I was gonna say, I bet you all of Queenstown is with us with that, like playing with kids in prams. Like, there's a lot of dads I've played with down there. They're like pushing the kid around for rounds, who's throwing friggin' tantrums in the middle while you're trying to putt, and it's like, thanks guys, you're great.
Yeah.
And if I could get Devon to sit in a buggy or a pram for longer than about 5 minutes, then she'd just be off, and in a random direction as well. It not where we're going.
You're not ready to put her on a leash? On a harness?
She wouldn't like that. It's a couple of years, and she'll have a disc in her hand and giving it a go herself, and it'll be great. But yeah, so she's already PDGA registered, so bonus.
So then my follow-up question for both of you then, or kind of follow-up, I have like an A and B, is like, one, is New Zealand ready for leagues, or is it too much of a commitment compared to a weekend away? And then two, if New Zealand is ready for leagues, and leagues is like the way forward, or like regular leagues, you know, are an important way to grow this sport, how can we improve them to encourage more growth besides a parents division?
I think this is per region, rather than the whole country itself. Christchurch's league has been going on for a few years now, and it's been gaining traction in size every year that they put it on. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think parts of the countries, like Queenstown and like Christchurch and like Auckland, who have the player base, and the player base is growing. I think they're ready. I think they're ready for regular leagues, and to have that as an option for people to play every week, I think it's a great idea. For places outside of those areas where you're still building that player base, I think it's not a bad thing to try it out, just so that you can have that information now and to build on that information for when you do have a bigger player base. And of course, you put it on every year, people will come, right?
And I think, Jack, that's a really good. That's the important point here, right? For me personally, is New Zealand ready for leagues? Absolutely, it's ready. It's ready for sanctioned leagues. And I'm talking about sanctioned leagues here. It's absolutely ready for sanctioned leagues. I had 18 people sign up for the midweek spring league in total. We had 4 in the ladies division, 14 in the open division. And I thought that was more than I was expecting. I was expecting to get about a dozen, right? And we got 18 people. And sure, not everybody can make every week. There were 2 weeks I had to miss because you have commitments, right? And you have things that come up and that you can't get around. Brady, I'm not sure how many you had for Barenpore. It was in that kind of same ballpark.
18.
You had 18 as well.
Yep.
So and I think that's it wasn't too long ago, don't forget, that Hoska, a casual event once a month on a Saturday morning, as casual as it comes, would struggle to get 18 people. And it gets more than that now, but there was a time when it didn't. And I think, Jack, to your point, build it and they will come. If you don't build it, then what option is there? You know, for the person who does get into the sport and really, really, you know, takes to it and loves it and goes, do you know what? I am all in. I've only been playing 5 minutes, but I don't care. I am all in on this. It's great, right? And there are those people about. You've probably met them, right? We've all met them. And certainly, if the popularity of the buy-sell page is anything to go by, right? What is there, like 1,200 people on that page? And like, you think there's not. I don't see 1,200 disc golfers. Like, and I'm sure some of them are Aussie, some are elsewhere, whatever. But like, that's a lot. Put on top of that Morgan ran 2 of his leagues down south, Struggle Street and Any Given Monday. The number of players playing in that league, I think, was about 10. Morgan might correct me, but I think it's about 10. And if you ask him whether they were a success or not, or any of the players that were playing in them, whether they were a success or not, I think he'd say absolutely they were a success. And I think you need to have those options available, along with all of the social options available as well, in order to cater for people depending on what kind of position or part of their disc golf journey they're in. And perhaps a way that you could encourage more people to come in and play is to offer recreational divisions to those leagues. You know, my midweek league had 2 divisions, an FPO and an MPO. And I said at the beginning, right, everyone's going in the same division. Cash prizes, everyone's in the same division. Maybe that will change in the summer league, but I don't know. It's the way it is. Also, we ran the scoring based purely on you get, like the PDGA does. You know, you get the number of points depending on the number of people you beat or tie plus yourself, right? And there's a couple of people who've made this comment. Stuart's made the comment. Stevens made the comment. Run the league over a number of weeks and then maybe scrap your worst number of scores or take the highest, smaller subset of scores, right? So each week you can go along, try and beat your best score. But if you can only play 5 weeks out of 8, that's all right, because we only take the top 5 anyway. So just make those. And that might be something to get more people involved, Jack. For example, like yourself. If we said, oh yeah, but if we said, look, all you've got to do is make 4 weeks out of this 8, and you're on a level playing field with everyone else, that's going to be more enticing. It still might not work, but it's going to be more enticing than if you don't.
I think it's for the places that can have a specific league for that, then I think it's worth doing. I know that Hoska used to be handicapped for a long time, where you would have I can't think of his name. Brady, could you help me there?
What, Alex?
No, but after Alex, before Matt. I can't think of his name. Anyway, he used to keep a record of the last 10 or 20 scores.
Quentin.
Quentin. He used to keep a record of everyone's scores, and then he would make a handicap from those scores. And I know, Matt, you had that initially when we started Hoska, and then it kind of just went away. But having those handicap scores could also potentially be an incentive to people that don't turn up as often, because then their skill that isn't increasing as fast as, you know, being helped by their handicap, but also for people that are new.
Well, here's the thing, right? You can run the PDGA League is very, very fluid and very, very. You can do basically what you like. You can give cash prizes to amateurs if you want, right? You can do pretty much anything you like. So you can do this top 5 rounds out of 8 and still have it as a sanctioned league, so that everybody gets a score for the rounds that they complete. That's still an option. The Christchurch League, for example, run over 15 weeks, lots of players down there. If they wanted to run it as a sanctioned league, irrelevant of the format, they could do. And so, and that would give people a chance to get a PDGA ratings from their rounds. What's interesting is that there's a lot more propagators in Wellington now, which is a thing, right? So when it comes to playing these leagues, people have got lots of rated rounds under their belt. So perhaps, and I don't know, I'd have to speak to people how playing a sanctioned round in a league may take some of the maybe nervousness away when it comes to tournament time. I don't know. You'd have to argue that maybe that's the case. But you can pretty much do whatever you like with leagues, really, in terms of the way they operate, the way the prizes work, the way you decide who wins. You can do whatever the hell you like, as long as everybody plays on the same course with the same layout, and it's done over a 8-week period or 6 to 10 week period. Providing you follow those rules, you can do what you like with the PGA League kind of framework. It's really quite fluid and flexible. So maybe that's something that will change for the Summer League, which is going to kick off in Wellington on the 5th of January. We'll run it so it's like maybe top 6 out of 8 or something like that. I haven't decided, because they've literally just sparked an interest in potentially changing it now. But yeah, does that answer your question, Brady?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think that answers very well. And it's honestly starting a discussion. It's good to kind of follow the comments. Stuart, who's played in both leagues, jumped in. Like Matt, Stuart, myself are arguably and Phil, I think, as well.
Yeah,
in Wellington, anywhere, are the only people who played like both leagues. So that idea of whether it's Leon or Phil, I don't know who's under the NZDSS banner at the moment. Feel free to comment your name in the comments. We are watching you as you watch us. They talked about that consistency is key. And I know that how they set it up in Christchurch, it's technically a match play league, but it's match play based on strokes. So like you play around versus your partner, and whoever shoots hotter that week wins. But basically what they do is they put out the matches each week. So it's like Sunday night or Monday morning, whatever it is. It's like, sweet, here's who you're playing this week. Organize between now and next Monday to play them. You play the round together, you submit the scores, and, like they've been doing that for, I think they said the last 5 years. And so again, like they've been clear on their communication. They've been consistent in running the league like year after year. Yeah. And you guys mentioned yourselves, it's really hard to commit to the same time every week on, week out, in order to like play in these leagues.
What a cliffhanger. Oh. He's back. Okay, carry on.
Oh, was I dropping out? I'm sorry.
You stopped for a second. You said to commit to the same time every week. Is what you
Okay, now we're good. Yeah. So so commitment is key. So they've added in flexibility, and we've also talked about the idea of adding in a way to incentivize more people playing, like the idea of with it being handicapped so that more people have the option to win, or the sweet, like we'll take 8 out of 10 scores, like is really interesting. And, like I would argue potentially like skins matches and like match play aren't used a lot in New Zealand, like doubles isn't used a lot in New Zealand. So, like, are those potential other ways too, that like we could incentivize and make it easier? Because it's like, oh, if you just had a like random doubles league, where you like pull 2 minis out of a hat and it's like, sweet, you're paired up this week, like, and then just kind of go play and like set records and that kind of stuff. Like, would that encourage more people to play? Like if it was just a doubles league. So it's just fun. So you got to meet new people randomly matched up and you just have some fun for a week. You know what I mean? Like, would that, consistency and communication. And I think, like Jack, you said it right. Like maybe everywhere in the country isn't ready for a consistent league yet. Like maybe we have to cater it more. But, I would argue that, like we're doing good things in the capital. We had 2 leagues, each with 18 players. And besides, like maybe 4 or 5 of us, like that there were 10 different people in each of those leagues. So, like we were really catering to like 30, 40 people, which is, like great to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and with regards to the sanctioning, all the rounds have to be played on the same day, I think. So each week's rounds have got to be played on the same day. And it's got to be, you've got to play the same course, same layout on the same day. if you want to be sanctioned. So yeah, I mean, if that works for your local league, then I'd encourage you to go down the route of sanctioning. It's not that expensive, $25 for the league, and then $50. This is all US. $50 per person per week who plays is the fee. All right. In Wellington, we charged $30 for the 8 weeks. 8 of those dollars. Yeah, you could charge, and 8 of those dollars went into the Ace Kitty, which then rolled up as the weeks went on. And Brady won it in week 4, I think, and then nobody won it after that. So all the money from the Ace Kitty went to Great Wellington Disc Golf Club to help build tee pads and signs and stuff. And then anything which was left over from the anything that was left over also went to the club as well. Although, to be honest, the first prize that we paid out was $80 to the winner. So I mean, it's not for some people that's not a lot, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it'd be I think it's quite a nice little prize for winning a disc golf league. Just turning out each week, probably doing what you'd be doing anyway.
Chris plays every day, man.
Yeah, he does, and he has been grinding. Tell you, he has been grinding. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a drive. Yeah, okay, good stuff. Anything more on leagues, or do we want to move on?
Well, I was gonna say, I think we need to go into Desert Island disc golf. Like me, like Matt, you and I have been playing lots of disc golf. Jack apparently hasn't been playing so much, so we should kind of encourage a little bit more disc golf out of him, I think.
Excellent.
Okay.
It's a very good idea.
You two talk between yourselves for a second. I need to go get a couple things.
Okay, he's going to go. Jack's going to go and grab his discs, I think.
Probably.
So the next show on the 5th of January, I'm doing Desert Island Disc Golf. And there is a prize going on. If you can guess what my free discs are. Now, you need to guess the plastic, the weight, and the mold.
Yep.
And someone has got very close so far. I'm not going to say who. Put your guess in the comments down below. You get one guess in total. It's not a Kia. I tell you, there's my clue. There's the clue. It's definitely not free Kia. Anyway, so you've got. Put a link down. If you put what those free discs are, if you get all 3 right, you get the right weight, mold, and disc and plastic, then we'll do a prize.
Yep. No, I will buy you the Matt's Desert Island discs.
Oh yes, that's right. So yes, you win those 3 discs. Now, someone, as I said, has come very close. I won't tell you who, but someone on last week's episode, because no one's guessed this week yet. Someone on last week's episode has got very close. So yeah, I shall leave it with you to find that out, and we'll be doing that prize on the 5th of January. So yeah, and that's we've got a few things coming up on that episode. That'll be episode 50. Can you believe, Brady? We've made it to 50. What I thought might just be a flash in the pan and no one would listen. Well, it turns out that some people have listened, and it's probably certainly enough to keep it going until 50 episodes anyway. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. We've got a little bit of we'll be doing a bit of a trip down memory lane, and we might show some highlights from some previous episodes on the show on that Thursday back. Sorry.
Are you going to unveil the Sweet Chain Analytics team, or like they're going to stay secret? Are they going to be like the Stig of the show, like hiding in the background with a mask on or something?
The Sweet Chain Analytics guys, they fall into the kind of stereotypical data analytics team, if you like. They're a little bit nerdy and a little bit camera shy. So yeah, you've met them clearly, and so they're not going to be on the show, no. But they may have some interesting facts coming out for the show on the 6th of January. So look out for that, because that's going to be a bit of fun. I'll ask them to put together some interesting Sweet Chain Live facts for you. We'll also have a Sweet Chain Live guest leaderboard. So who has been guest the most number of times on the show? We'll be doing the power rankings for that too. You can probably guess who it might be, but we shall see. Jack, you're back.
Hello.
Welcome back.
So anybody who hasn't joined us before, the premise of this section of the show is that Jack has been stranded on a desert island. He fortunately, there's a disc golf course on this desert island, and he has been stranded with 3 discs. He's also been stranded with 3 card mates, and those card mates can be real or fantasy, living or dead, people he knows or people he doesn't. They can be anyone he likes. So Jack, take us through what you are throwing on your desert island.
Yeah. Okay. So my 3 favorite discs that I've pretty much ever thrown. Starting with the Discraft Challenger, which I have been putting with for a long time in the Jawbreaker plastic. This was just my go-to for a long time, and it was a really nice, kind of just that perfect stability putter where I can make it do whatever I want. Great for headwinds, great for tailwinds, great for all of that stuff, which is very important in Wellington. And as a spin putter, it just really suited my style. Yeah, really. Very. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you just putt with it, or do you throw it as well?
I just putt with it. I did have an ESP Challenger, which I did throw for a bit until I got an Envy, which suited me a little bit better. But yeah, I would just putt with this. The Jawbreaker plastic, I think if I started throwing it, it would kind of destroy its character a little bit too quickly.
Excellent.
Yeah, just a little bit. Moving on, I have chosen a mid-range. Well, it's not the exact mid-range that I would have gone with, but I don't have the other one. I would have picked an MVP Axis as my mid-range, but I don't have the Axis that I it's somewhere. It's probably in the car somewhere. So
that's not the one you threw up the tree on hole 1, is it?
No. I replaced the Axis with the Hex from Axiom. So that is what I have in my hand right now, is the Axiom Hex, because it's surprisingly different to the Axis. I threw the Axis. Axis was my first legitimate mid-range. The first one that I bought myself anyway.
Rock 3?
No, that came after. Okay. But the Rock 3 is also a very good disc. The Axis was just more versatile. The Rock 3 is a great headwind disc. It's great for just ripping on and staying on the same line and having a very reliable fade. But the Axis I could rip on flat and hyzer, it would just hold whatever angle that I threw it on. So, but it's out of production now. So I'm now learning the Hex, which is also just a fantastic disc. Yeah, surprisingly different to the Axis. It comes kind of pre-beaten if you're directly relating them or comparing them. So the Hex, if I full power on it, I have to put it on a little bit of a hyzer if I wanted to go straight, whereas the Axis, I could full power it on just flat and it would stay flat. So, but yeah, still very fantastic disc. This thing is so versatile. The plastic's amazing. I love
the Axiom Neutron plastic, or the MVP Neutron plastic is lovely, but particularly the Axiom because of the colors and that they do it in. Like whenever I get a box of Axiom in, it's like a pack of Skittles in a box.
It's just actual candy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then third, I am going for a driver. This is the Streamline Trace, which this one is very well used, as you can see from the foil on top, because I've been throwing it for a long time. Back when I didn't have very many Frisbees, I used to subscribe to a monthly delivery of random golf discs from Dollar Disc Club, which I don't remember how I found it. I feel like someone recommended it to me, but it was a long time ago. And they would send me 2 at 1.3 discs a month. And one of those discs at one point was a Streamline Trace with their special edition Ace stamp on the front. on the top, and I fell in love with it instantly. Back then I wasn't too I definitely not at the level. I wasn't at the level I am now, so I didn't have as much power behind me, but it still just flew incredibly. I could do whatever I want with it, and now I can do even more stuff. Oh my gosh. It's just so versatile. It's an 11 speed with a 5 glide, so it just goes for days. And it's got that just perfect stability where I can flip it up to make it go straight. I can throw it on as just a slight high zoom, get a full S shape out of it. I can power on it and get it to just keep turning. Yeah, it just does everything. It does everything. I think at one point I had about 4 of them that in different stability types. I think this might be my only one at the moment, which is a bit sad. I feel like I've either lost or sold the others, because that's just I'd rather the disc go to someone that is actually going to use it. So, and I'm sure I can get a new trace when I need it. But so far, this I couldn't live without it.
Good stuff. Excellent. Fantastic. And it's great to have some new discs. I don't think we've had a trace or a hex or a challenger on the show either so far. So that's really good. Really good. Okay. Who are your 3 card mates? Who are you taking with you?
Yeah. So my 3 card mates were, the first one would have to be my dad. He's the one that got me into disc golf. He's the one that got me into Ultimate. He's the one that got me throwing plastic. So I would absolutely have to have my dad there. He's a competitive person, which is where I get it from, I think. But it would be a great battle, and it always is when him and I are out in the course. But just a great time for us to have some time together. Yeah. The second person, this is a bit out there, but honestly, I would love to play a round of disc golf with Bill Nye, the science guy. Because I just think that'd be hilarious. He's an Ultimate player from back in the day. And there's plenty of pictures of him around playing and throwing and freestyling Ultra Stars and whatever was out at the time.
Yes, he wouldn't be useless. He
No, and I think just his insight into kind of just broad science would be incredible to listen to and to query. So I think that'd be amazing. For the third, I kind of wanted to go with a pro just for the sake of it. I think I would choose Hailey King, because I just love the way she throws. Her form is just so pure. That I think it would be incredible to watch her play, and as a much younger person than myself, just to get some insight on what it takes to be a professional at her age.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't Hailey King, I would probably go for Destin Sandlin from Smarter Every Day, because he's also just he's a mechanical an aerospace engineer. And his scientific background also in the same vein as Bill Nye would just be incredible on shapes of discs and how they fly. And yeah.
So Jack's going for a very intellectual card. He's going to take all day to get around, because they're just going to be chatting the whole time. But entertaining all the same. Excellent. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Jack. Now we go over to our quick fire round. As you know, the front 9 is a family-friendly front line. Same questions to everybody every week. And then Brady's got a safari back 9 for us, which is a this or that. It changes every week for each person, and it's quick fire. So here we go. What's your name?
Jack Ryan.
Where were you born?
Nelson.
Where do you live now?
Wellington.
What's your PDGA number?
99945.
How long have you been playing?
I think I started around 2013, but I've only really been playing seriously since I moved to Wellington about 6 years ago.
Favorite disc?
The Trace.
Favorite course?
Favorite course? Inglewood. I love crashing out there. That's fun.
Excellent. Favorite MPO player?
We're gonna go with, I think, Kevin Jones. Guy's amazing.
Favorite FPO player?
Haley King.
Very good. Very good. Okay, Brady, take us through the back nine.
On to the back nine. So, Incubus or Franz Ferdinand?
Franz Ferdinand.
Play your character or let the party die?
That's very specific. In general, play your character.
Okay. Android or Apple?
Oh, I'm not a fanboy, honestly. I've gone back and forth with pretty much each device previously that I've had. Android.
Okay. Hybrid or electric?
Electric.
Dune or Justice League?
For the sentimental value, Dune.
Tommy or TomTom?
TomTom.
Any backhand or force flex?
Any backhand.
Win the tournament or throw 1,000 rated round?
Ooh, honestly, 1,000 rated round, that would just make my life.
And run it or lay up?
Run it, always.
Woo! There you go, Jack. That is, you are
Very
Sweet
good.
Chain Safari.
Very good. Thank you very much, Jack. And so that was very entertaining. And that's everybody's done Desert Island Disc Golf now. Brady, you've done it with us before.
Yep.
Jack, you've just done it. I'll be doing it next week. So yeah.
So make sure you guess your disc. I'm sure you mentioned it before, but don't forget to.
Yes. So mention the guess the discs in the thing.
What's
below.
Matt going to have with us for Desert Island next week? Put them down below. Not much time left.
There isn't much time. Who knows what I'm going to have? There's very, very quickly before we go, just wanted to mention some events that are coming up in January. Okay, so in Wellington, you've got the Wellington Midweek Summer League starts on the 6th of January. Have I got that right? The 5th or the 6th? It's on the Wednesday, 5th of January. 6th of January is when Sweet Chain Live is back on air after the new year. And on the Saturday, the 8th of January, is Hosker down at Petone for a themed round. So we'll be spinning the wheel on the Thursday, the 6th, to see what the themed round's going to be. We'll put up what the choices are about a week or so before. On the 15th of January, you've got a choice. You can either go to Roxburgh for the Roxburgh Open on the 15th of January, or you can go to the west side of Woodville. You have to go to one of them, so pick carefully. That's on the 15th of January. Next, the week after, is the 22nd. That's North Island Champs up in Auckland. The week after that, 29th, Heislander down in Dunedin. I shall see you there. South Island Champs, weekend after that, 5th to the 7th of February. I shall see you there. And in Rotorua, 2 weeks after that, on the 19th of February, I may not see you there. But that is the schedule coming.
And then, if you're a touring player wanting to make as many competitions as you can next year, between March and April, you've got a week off. Every other week is stacked with competitions. It's going to be intense.
I don't want anyone complaining they can't get into competitions, because they are being run, right? They are being run. You have to, that's coming out. A couple of things just to make mention of that I've just remembered, which was that last weekend played host to the Battle of the South between Dunedin and Invercargill, and big congratulations to everybody in Invercargill for taking that out. I think it was 10-5. I want to say the scores are, but I think they won by it wasn't tight, but it wasn't a walkover. So well done to the Invercargillites. And also Day in the Dunes. That's not a thing, but I think it is.
You're just making up, like, are you Santa or Seuss? Like, where are you going with that?
Day in the Dunes, which was last weekend. Also, just trying to get the results up here. Levi Stout took out the win. Of course, he did by 3 shots over Ben Wheellake and Tom McKay. And it was Levi Stout who shot the hottest round of the weekend with a 1009 rated second round. In the advanced division, Team Sweet Chains, Andrew Fleming takes out the win with a playoff win over Norman Tudor. So well done to him. And Gladys Bernardo takes out the ladies division. That's all from me for this year. Brady, anything else to add before we wrap?
Oh, I think just a happy holidays, everyone. And honestly, thank you for joining us. 49 episodes is a great thing. And honestly, we couldn't be here and would not be here if it wasn't for all of you guys viewing and listening and enjoying this podcast, whether it be video on Facebook or on YouTube or even listening to us on Spotify. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for these 49 weeks. And we hope to see you for 49 more. So thanks for watching.
Totally. Absolutely agree. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this for the last 49 weeks, and we'll be doing it for many more. Next Thursday even, will be the first Thursday in 49 that I won't be doing one of these. So, so we'll be back. We'll be back on the 6th of January in the new year, the first one of 2022, episode 50. We'll have a bit of fun. We'll have some throwbacks and some awards. We may even have some spot prizes, so make sure you tune in so that you can win yourself something cool. Thank you very much to my guest host Jack Ryan this evening.
Thanks, Jack.
And my regular host Brady Cush this evening.
Cheers,
have
buddy.
a Merry Christmas, New Zealand. Have a great time. Take it easy. Play some disc golf. Get some birdies, and we'll see you in the new year. Cheers.
Peace.